Let us quickly understand the feedback circuit. There is a negative feedback circuit present in a LDO or any voltage regulator. So this feedback circuit comprises of the error amplifier, the PMOS device, and the feedback resistor. Now what are the conditions under which you identify and how do you design RF and R2? First, you follow the condition where the voltage ground or the two inputs at the input of the error amplifier will be 0. So let us understand. So that would be Vref is equal to what is the effective voltage seen here. So that voltage is Vrh, so Rf2 by Rf1 plus Rf2 times V, the regulated output, which is Vrh. Now what is the regulated voltage? The regulated voltage here is the difference between the power supply and the dropout voltage VDO, or this can be called as the VDS of the PMOS device. Correct? Second one, the feedback resistor, again, since you are looking at the voltage, you will try and see how you can maintain a low quiescent current to ensure that you are not having a large current drop across this value. So you want to have a low quiescent current IQ in your system. Further, you will see that you need to have a high gain, and this gain also can be controlled in the high gain in the error amplifier, and this gain can be controlled with the amount of current sometimes that is flowing through your error amplifier. So these are the conditions under which you want to have a negative feedback. Now let us quickly understand and see what are the values that we can set for the amplifier here. So to design the RF1 and RF2 value, how do you get the answer? The way you look at it is you need to have a low value. Now in this particular condition, if you see, the gate of this device is a gain factor multiplied by the difference between the two. How does that information help us? It doesn't. You just need to look at what is the feedback factor that you want to take into the value. So now let us look at what is the regulated voltage output that you expect. So that would be Rf1 plus Rf2 divided by Rf2 times your input reference voltage, and that is given as 1 plus the ratio of Rf1 plus Rf2 times your Vref is your regulated voltage. Now we know what is the regulated voltage we need. For example, let us take a numerical. Let VDD here be commonly 1.2 volt and Vreg we want it to be 0.9 volt. Right? So now you know these two values. There is going to be a approximately 300 millivolt drop across the low dropout resistor. Now let keep 0.9. Let the regulated voltage be equal to 0.9 volt. Right? And we know what is a Vref. So if we get Vref from a BGR, it will be about 0.4. Now how do you get that? 0.4 or 0.5? Let the reference input voltage be about 0.75. Okay. Now with this you can set and obtain your RF by RF1 values. So let us substitute the values here. We get Vreg, which is 0.9 is equal to 1 plus Rf1 by Rf2 times your Vref value. Vref is 0.75. If you simplify, it is 0.9 divided by 0.75 minus 1 equal to Rf1 by Rf2. Now that gives a value slightly more than 1. So 0.9 by 0.75 is 6 over 5. So it's 1.2 minus 1 is 0.2. So RF1 by RF2 is equal to 0.2. So this is the ratio that needs to be maintained. Now second, that is this condition is found out. Now if you want to have a very low quiescent current flowing through this, let the total current flowing through this path be about 10 microampere. Now why am I taking 10 microampere to flow only through this? Because the rest of the current needs to flow out through the load current. So here you will have the KCL coming. The total current flowing through the transistor Q1 will be equal to the load current and the quiescent current. You want a very low quiescent current to be consumed, both as power saving as well as understanding. So if you keep this as 10 microampere, that will be the total draw. Now how do you know what is the value that is, how is this going to get set? We only want 10 microampere to flow through. So the voltage that you will have, V by R, that is flowing through this value, R1, RF1 plus RF2, if you want to have it, so RF1 plus RF2 is equal to Vreg divided by current through this vector, that is 10 microampere. So if your regulated voltage is 0.9 divided by 10 microampere, your total value is 0.09 mega, or it is 90 kilo ohm. Right? So this is the 90 kilo. So now let us use these two equations to solve the rest of it. So RF1 plus RF2 is 90 kilo ohm, and RF1 over RF2 is 0.2, or it is 1 over 5. So this can be written as RF2 is equal to 5 RF1. So substituting this equation, we get 6 RF1 is equal to 90 kilo ohm, or RF1 is equal to 15 kilo ohm, and RF2 is equal to 5 times RF1 is 75 kilo ohm. So this is how you design the two feedback factor resistors in your circuit to ensure that you have a low quiescent current. Now you have now understood what is the low quiescent current requirement, right? So what this does is, so the total current that is flowing out of the transistor Q is given as the I feedback resistor plus the I load current. Now depending upon what is the total load that you have, but you will ensure that the feedback resistor, current to the feedback resistor is always with the lower value, and here you have the I load which is coming fully. This is a common interview question that you see to understand what is the, how do you select RF1 and RF2, right? And the concept is to see you have a low quiescent current. Now there might be an option where instead of 10 microampere in some of the lower voltage circuits or low current circuits, they might ask you it to be a even lower, 1/10 the value as a 1 microampere. In such a case, you can increase the value of the resistances, and the value will now be correspondingly RF1 and RF2 will be typically 150 kilo ohm and 750 kilo ohm. Now this again depends upon what is the area available for you, because if you have, since these resistors are large, they also occupy a larger area, right? So this is the intuition behind getting the right kind of feedback resistances in your circuit.